How much maintenance did that take to
that, in the old days on the display team, that took about 70 to 80% of the faults on the aircraft. The military flight systems and the NBS, which is the navigational bombing system, took about 70 to 80% of the aircraft faults. So I got rid of them.
So they've actually been replaced by something new that the CAA approved?
Yeah, we've got a little Garmin 430,
Yeah.
which fitted to Cessnas, which has got a little map and an 8.33 radio, again, for the CAA. They've also got a Garmin 165 repeater at the front.
Following the unfortunate incident with Concorde, did this have much impact on the work that you did on the Vulcan, the fuel tanks?
No, they didn't know, because we don't have any of the fuel suppressions or anything like that on our aircraft. And no, we've not done anything about that. I know the civilian aviation and all that, with some of the jumbos and all that lot, do have them things, but not with ours. Because ours, we have obviously got the metal skins and then the rubber fuel tanks bags inside them as well. But no, it had nothing to do with us. We don't, under the permit world, we don't need to hit the full XH558, I think it is, which is the fuel tank. So we don't have to deal with that.
Kevin, what's the maximum height you can fly at and how fast can they go up?
Right, maximum height now is 17,500 feet.
Really?
Yeah, because we're not pressurised.
No,
It used to be about 60,000 feet, and we are limited now to an airspeed of 300 knots. I think it used to go, because I can't remember what it used to be in the old days, but it used to be 0.93 Mach, which is just below the speed of sound. But now they reduced that because we have a small aerial on the front, which obviously is not designed for the high speeds and all that, and we don't need to go that fast.
Do you need all 4 engines going for the little display that you do 3-4 minutes, or do people just like to hear the noise?
Yeah, the noise is actually the air going down the intakes. And
it's distinctive, isn't it?
It's only on the 200 series engines. When they upgraded them to the 300 series, which just put an extra stage compressor at the front, and that, you lost the howl. You got the loud noise, the more power, but you lost the howl. It's the air resonance going down the intake that causes that. And I think there's about a ton of air a second goes down there.
They fly very well on 2 engines, don't they?
Oh yeah, they can fly in them. And in fact, I had to go with the pilots the other day because the way they fly, we are now going from, because the engines used to be on hours, 2,000 hours, fit and forget. And that was throttle up, take off, throttle back, sit there for 6 hours, bimble back down, throttle back a couple of times and land. But obviously in a display, he's up and down the box all the time. And Rolls-Royce want now to put the engines on cyclic life, which is minimum to max. And they've given us, I think, there's 1,200 cycles per engine, hence the 5 years at 1.2 cycles an hour. Well, one display at Farmer was 4 cycles in 3 minutes. And they're up and down the box, and the engines don't like to sit below 50% because the oil doesn't scavenge until about 50%. So where they keep coming back to the idle, it's sort of corking up the engine bit, because if you look at the display, it chucks out a nice sort of a bit of carbon out the back, nice little bit of a, but if he keeps the engines above the 50%, it circulates the oil and doesn't dump it off into the jet pipe. So it's a lot more efficient engine then.
They're very slow to accelerate from height, aren't they?
They're very slow. They only become responsive from about 80% upwards. And from the 80 up, it's very responsive. But in the low level, you just move it up, and then it starts to catch up, and then you can move it, and it's responsive. But you can move the throttle 3 or 4 inches from the idle before it starts to wind up.
Do you scavenge a lot for parts? I mean, there used to be quite a lot of Vulcans that were on taxi only, and quite a few of them now are just relics that are left at the side of airfields.
Yes. Not counting ours, there are 14 Vulcans in the UK. 2 of them are taxiing, and the rest of them are standing in the museum. The reason I know, because I actually done a Vulcan scramble, and I visited all 14, or 15 including ours, in 24 hours. And it was 897 miles, and I had 20 minutes to spare. yes, some of them in a real sorry state.
Yeah, I was just going to say the Blackpool one really looks sad.
Gone. JCB just... I know, and I didn't even get no bits off it.
I was going to say, did you get it?
I did. I have been to several museums and swapped some things.
The Navy used Olympus in there. Have you had any contact with them, any spares?
Yes, the back end is similar to ours, but the front end's completely different. The spec of material that's used is different, although the workings are very similar. So we can get away with bits and pieces. We can get more technical advice from them than we do from the historic engine, obviously, because they're still running marine, and there's also the industrial version of it as well. And in fact, one company who's now taken over the Rolls-Royce contracts, if you like, for the industrial one, have just offered some help. They cannot give us money, but they can possibly give us manpower and assistance, so I shall be going to talk to them very soon.
And if these who don't know, because they're using the power of the aircraft carriers.
Yeah.
Are the engines used anywhere in the Commonwealth? Or is it only in Britain?
No, we've got the only 8.
Right then, if that completes the questioning, yeah, everyone's asked all they need to ask. The time is progressing now, so if we could wrap up, and I would like personally to thank Kevin for a fascinating insight into the operation, and in particular the problems that are associated with getting this beast into the air again. You often watch these programs. I know Kevin mentioned the grand designs and how these things do always overrun. You do often. It is nice to actually sort of understand the sort of problems that do give rise to these overrunning of projects and costing as such. So it's fascinating. So it's now really down to me to ask you all really to thank Kevin for coming here in the usual time-honoured fashion, please.
Okay, I'm Taff Stone, I'm the crew chief on XH558, and I'd just like to give you this personal message just to say thank you for all you people who've pledged the money to come and keep 558 flying this year. With all your pledges now, you've put forward £1 million, and I can't thank you enough. What we now need to do is actually get this money in so we can see 558 on the airshow circuit. If you haven't pledged, please do either that or go to the website, which is vulcantothesky.org. There's a e-donate button there. Donate your money. We need your money. Now we have all the funding that should be coming in now. We need to keep 558 in the air. So please, if you can go to the website, join the club, whatever you can do to help us to keep this aircraft in the air, I'd be most grateful. Thank you.